Marriott International, which is the latest hotel group in a long and growing list to admit to a personal data breach, has warned guests that a database of his Starwood division has been compromised, and that up to 500 million records may have been exposed. The group said in a statement on his website that it has taken measures to investigate and address the security incident affecting reservations at the Starwood properties, which could have serious repercussions for the business in terms of fines for breaching data protection regulations around the world. The hotel group took 20 days to alert those affected by breach. So the question is, what can we do to avoid a data breach like this? Marriott says it received an alert from an internal security tool on September 8, warning of an attempt to access the Starwood West reservation database in the United States. In his investigation of the incident, Marriott learned that an unauthorized party gained access to the company's customer database and copied and encrypted information and took steps toward removing it. During 2014 and 2008, an unauthorized party accessed encrypted information from the Starwood guest reservation database on approximately 500 million guests. The type of information recovered and the fact that it took 4 years to recognize the breach paints a devastating picture of security practices and threat monitoring. Information compromised includes name, mailing address, phone number, email address, passport number, date of birth, email address, payment card details. Not only it affect their guests' privacy and trust in company, but the company itself took many negative hits, including a 6% drop in the shares of the company. Reputation of the company was lowered. Lawsuits against the company reaching billions of dollars.
Alright, now that we have heard a brief summary about what's been going on, let's try and dive a bit more in depth about what's happening, how did it happen, and try and see where we can learn as a company going forward and how we can better protect our customers. So we learned that breach at Marriott was devastating. It affected a lot of people, affected up to 500 million people. And that affection basically included the data theft of their names, their genders, addresses, phone numbers, passports, birthdays, emails, and credit cards. And while Marriott says that this information was encrypted, there is also some sources saying that the passport numbers may not have been encrypted securely, potentially leaving them up to be stolen pretty easily. And so we need to learn from this. And also, Marriott, this data breach lasted over a span of 4 years. And so what was going on was pretty much it was going through unnoticed for a large majority of the time. It wasn't until the last 4 months of the breach where they caught notice. And so how this actually started to happen, we don't know too much about where the hackers gained access and how they were able to get in, but we do know how they kind of caught it. So Marriott one day was alerted through their security system that there was an unauthorized breach in their reservation system, and so they looked into it and they needed to get some outside help to kind of track it down. And then what they found was, what the bad news was, is all that information has been stolen. And they're able to conclude up to 500 million people have been affected. And since then, they have taken action, but a little bit slowly. And so one of the tabs we have here is they need to respond immediately with the breach. There are some laws stating within 72 hours, the companies must inform their users about what's been going on, and hey, your account might have been hacked, and this is the information that may have been hacked. But it looks like they only responded the last 2 weeks of their 4-month basically time it took them to patch the hack, the breach. And so there's been lawsuits following that because of that situation, and also just with the situation of the data being stolen itself. So we can definitely learn from that. If we ever get breached, we need to respond immediately. We learned that security needs to be improved drastically all around. Companies all over are learning about this. They know data breaches are becoming more and more common, and it's our turn to take action. It's our turn to realize that, hey, this breach was devastating, and we don't want to face the same things. We don't want to face lawsuits. We don't want to face unhappy customers. And so we'll go more in depth of what we can do to improve the security around later on. All right, so next slide here. We need to ask some hard questions for ourselves to get our minds thinking. So we need to take action now. So what does that mean? What can we actually do? And so we have some more recommendations on the next page, but we can just ask some questions here to get ourselves thinking. So what we can actually do is actually quite a lot. We can start training employees how to take better security measures. Are they locking their computers? Are we using a secured Wi-Fi connection at all times? Do we have the proper VPN networks if employees are working from home? Do they have, if they're using with customers' information, is it on a secure network? Do we have a good firewall? Are we monitoring the traffic going in and out of our company? So make sure that anything that doesn't seem out of the ordinary gets caught. Those are the few things we can do there. We can continue to ask ourselves, what's our weakness? Where do we see that we're faltering, and how can we improve that? Some suggestions have been we can have self-inflicted attacks, so we can almost like role play a breach. Have some of our employees try and breach our software, our systems, and then have other employees figure out how to find it, and then how to patch it, and see how long it would take just to kind of get practice in a real life situation. We need to have a plan of action to help our customers know what to do once the breach has happened. What Marriott has done is they actually made a website where customers can go up and they could enter the information and see if they've been breached. They could enter in like their name and last name and email address, and that was like required, but they could also enter optional information like their passport or credit card number just to get a better idea of if they actually have been hacked. So, is that a good idea? Should we follow in that footsteps if a breach was to happen? How can we inform our customers what to do to better take care of themselves if something like this was to happen? Changing their passwords and so forth. And lastly here, should we increase security at the expense of our users' benefit? So not all the time it's not fun to keep entering in password and entering a backup password or phone number. It's not the most nice way, but it is more secure. So we can use two-step verification just to show that we really value our users' privacy and information to keep secure. These are some things to think about, and we'll go on the next couple slides here to kind of have some more recommendations and go from there.